We are in the laws of lost objects. Mitzvah in the Torah for a Jew, right? It's a command. Mitzvah means it's a command.
Tanya, it's important to know the way God is so we can better connect with Him.
And more a full heart, yeah. Yeah. So we're chapter 16. You have it in the booklet, chapter 16. The following laws apply if a person finds needles, spits, nails, or the like. If he finds them one at a time, he may keep them because that means these are things that don't have they don't have a siman to them. They don't have any identifying mark that a person could make a claim that it's theirs. By the way, I want to give you context over here. Like, today, if someone lost a nail or a needle, big deal, right? Back then, it was a big deal. Back then, if a person owned, maybe a couple hundred items. Maybe you owned a couple hundred items. Today, an average person owns 20,000 items. How many pens do you have in the house? Back in the day, they had one pen, right? They had one pen. How many needles for sewing if you're a seamstress? You got a bunch of them. Back then, maybe you had two, maybe you had two. So on and so forth. So someone lost something, it had value. And back in the day, people had value, life had value. Today, learning Chassidus, learning Torah, so life has value. Without it, the world, right? What value is there to anything? And that's why you could be destructive. Like God, there's no value anyway. So, let's destroy a synagogue. Let's destroy a people, because there's no, of course, I just want to go off on that. Okay. Got it?
Once recently, I found the $10 on the floor, and I said, "Well, money we cannot,
Right."
And as I'm putting it, like I'm leaving, I put it in my pocket. There's a Jewish, like with a kippah. He's looking around. Says, "Did you see a 10 and a 5 on the floor? I just lost." And I said, "Okay, here's your 10, but I don't know where's your 5." Maybe the rule.
Ah,
Blew it away.
wow. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, so Amram just tells a story that he found a $10 bill on the floor. And as we learned previously, that there's no sign to it. No one remembers the serial number. So, a $10 bill is a $10 bill. And if you found a stack of $10 bills placed, so someone placed there purposefully, right? It was with intent. They put it in the corner somewhere, maybe in some, for whatever reason, right? Stack of coins back in the day and so on. Or but just you could keep that $10 bill. As he's put into his pocket, a religious Jew comes to him and says, "I just lost a $10 and a $5 bill. Did you find and you see it? Maybe." And he took that out of his pocket. He gave him a sign that he just lost it. The truth is, halachically,
It's mine.
to the letter of the law, it's yours, right? To the letter of the law, it's yours. You did the right thing, though. But the letter of the law doesn't mean, right? Because there's no way he could identify it. On the other hand, because someone else it could have been there from yesterday. Didn't have to be his. So that's not a proof, the fact that he's asking for it. It's not sufficient proof, except that would be, it is the right thing to do.
Initials were on it or something. That would be
Yeah. If it was a Rebbe's dollar and it said, yeah, it's written on there, given to me by the Rebbe on, February, on Yud Shvat in 1990, so that's a sign because it's written on there. By the way, if you found a dollar like that, then you would have to try to find its owner. because you know certainly it belongs to somebody that can't identify because they could say what you can't say if it's got the date and what's written there. Okay, shkoyach. So that's why you found needles, spits, nails, or the like. If he finds them one at a time, so as we said, he can keep them. If he finds them in sets of 2 or more, he's obligated to announce their discovery for the number of articles found was a mark that can be identified. Oh, that's interesting. Would that be for money too, then? I don't think so, though. Oh, he's going to speak. Okay, we're going to see number 2. All right, similarly, if he finds scattered coins, here we go. I'm Rami. He came up at the right time.
Well, yeah, that's what's correctly accounted.
Right? He may keep them, even if some of the coins are lying one each on each other. They're considered to be scattered, right? Because falling out. And by the way, why could you keep it? Because why could you keep those things? Because we say that a person, when they will give up hope to having it returned. Why? Why would he give up hope to having it returned?
Well, likely to be able to,
Because he can't identify it. That's why.
oh,
So if I feel I could identify it, right? So I have a proof, because remember, by the law, you need to be able to identify. You don't say, by the way, I found 7 gold coins. Guess what? Some deceiver is going to come into, I lost 7 gold coins. Well, I can't believe it. Amazing. Right? Well, someone who's deceptive can say that, right? How are you going to know it's his? You gave away that it was 7. And then it was gold. Maybe it was silver coins. And you gave away everything. You're not allowed to do that. Right? So here, the fact that they are even lying someone because they can be scattered. If, however, one finds a collection of coins, one must announce their discovery. Right? In other words, they're in a collective manner. For example, if one found 3 coins placed one on top of the other, like a tower, oh, okay. Or there was one to the right, one to the left, and one to the top of them, like a triangle, or they were placed in succession, each lying slightly on the other, so that if the silver or wood, sliver of wood were placed under them, they would be able to pick them up at one time. He's obligated to announce their discovery. If they're placed in a circle, a line, or a tripod, like steps, and the matter is one of doubt. Therefore, at the outside, one should not take them. Wow. Because remember, because why did you place them this way? Because you're going to come back to get them. Now, you can ask a question, why in God's earth would someone do that? That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. This is what you found. This is the parameter of the law. Like what, 3 coins and you can't carry them? Who knows? Whatever.
They don't announce them, nothing, they just don't take them.
Huh?
They don't announce them, nothing, they just don't.
Yeah, they don't exactly. They don't take it because the guy's going to come back for it. That's the point. The guy's coming back for it.
You don't have to announce them.
Right. Well, announcing means you took it.
If you took it, but you
Right.
don't take it, you don't announce it.
Exactly. Number 3, if a person finds money in a wallet or an empty wallet, he's obligated to announce its discovery. If he found a wallet with money scattered before it, he may keep the money. If, however, it appears that the wallet and the money belong to the same person, and that money fell from the wallet, he must announce its discovery, right? And I was making a distinction here. A wallet is, it's a black wallet. It's got it's got 4 compartments, right? It's got a place for credit cards, so on and so forth. You can give, right? Money you can't. So, but if it looks like it came from there, right, which is more likely than it did, but not necessarily. Right.
Parameters, yeah.
Exactly. Number 4, the following rules apply when a person finds money in a store. If the money is found between the counter and the storekeeper, it must be given to the storekeeper, right? Because probably belongs to him. If it's found on the counter, and needless to say, if it's found on the outside of the counter, it may be kept by the finder. Because that's not the area of the storekeeper. Right? The counter is not the storekeeper's place.
Public.
Courtyard.
More public, exactly. Why does the store not acquire the money on behalf of its owner? There's such a law that your property is serves as a vehicle to acquire what's in it. So why do we say that? Because it is not a protected courtyard. We learned that by when you give a divorce bill of divorce, that if it's thrown, well, it has to be given to the woman, right? But what if it's thrown into her courtyard? So if the courtyard is closed off, in other words, it's a private courtyard, so then it's as if she got it in her hand, right? Because her courtyard is her extension of her hand, so to speak, right? But that's only if it's a protected courtyard, right? In other words, if it's a public domain courtyard, so then it's not hers. So it's not an extension of her hand. Then it's not like she got it to her hand, right? So the same idea, why don't we say, so we're answering over here, because a store is not a protected courtyard. It's public, even though it belongs to me, the store, but you can all come there. So it's not a public, it's not a private courtyard or protected courtyard, right? Therefore, even if the owner was present to acquire the money, the owner would have to say, may my store acquire it on my behalf, as will be explained. That's different. If you make the statement, yeah. The owner is not doing that the whole day because someone might have lost something, right?
If it's on the counter and the store owner says this is on my behalf,
Yeah,
then it's his.
yeah. Yes, he has to say it.
Store acquired.
Makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Store acquired.
I found once, that's many years ago, a few $100 bills stacked. When when you open the safety boxes for where you go exercise to put your valuables.
Mhm.
So when I saw the $100 bills, I figured, okay, it's mine because there is no identification. But when I took it out, I saw under it a check. And it was from École Polytechnique to probably a professor there. So I looked at the name, and then in those times they had phone books. So I opened the phone book and I saw there was 7 with that last name. So I'm phoning each of the 7 to find out. And the third or the fourth, they said, oh, yeah, that's my check from my work. And I said, there was some money with it. Do you know how much money? And they had no idea. So they couldn't tell me the amount. But I still give it to them. But normally they should know. I had 300, 400.
Right. Yeah.
They had no idea how much.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Number 5, the following rules apply.
Do I have to give the money? I gave it, but do you have to give the money if they can identify the amount?
Definitely, because it was a Kiddush Hashem, it was the right thing to do. He definitely did the right thing. By the letter of the law, actually interesting thing, because it's someone that wasn't Jewish.
Maybe it was Jewish. I don't know, because Hakun was
Could be.
Moroccan Jewish name.
Right.
If
Yeah.
it's non-Jewish, it's different.
Actually, for non-Jew, probably it's more important to give it back, because it added point of doing, to make a Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name by doing that. And right, as opposed to for a Jew, you don't have that command to sanctify God's name, right? For a Jew, so it might have. I mean, it definitely is the right thing to give it back because it was all together, right? But in halachic, he gave up on it. So then halachically it's yours, right? But in halacha it says better to give it back. There's just a parameter of a fact. The fact is he gave up on it. On it. There's no, well, there is a simon because of the check, but maybe he didn't give up. because he had the check there? That's a good question.
He was very concerned about the check. He wasn't as concerned about the money, but the money was an important amount. It wasn't a small amount.
Right. All right.
You have to, make fraud. Would-
Okay. If the money was found on the counter, okay, we see it. Oh, one second. If the money was, oh no, if the following rules apply, when a person finds money in a store of a money changer, if the money is found between the counter and the money changer, it must be given to the money changer. Again, if the money was found on the counter, which is further away from the money changer, even if it was wrapped in a purse and placed on a table, it may be kept by the finder, provided the majority of the clientele are non-Jews, as we've explained. If, however, the majority of the clientele are Jewish, the finder must announce the discovery. Since they are wrapped in a purse, they have a mark which can be identified. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So we learned earlier, right? So this is the, I don't know if that fits in with what we learned earlier, because we learned earlier, yesterday or the day before, that, right. So the law of returning lost objects, right, is only a law for a Jew, for another Jew that you have the obligation, right? So if you have obligation means it's not a choice. You have no choice. I mean, you have a choice because you don't have to listen to what God says, but that choice you do, of course. But it's no choice as far as Torah is concerning. When it's a non-Jews, so then it's like the law of the land. The law of the land, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. That's the law of the land, right? Except previously he said that you should return it. I think that's when it's clear that you can, yeah, because, okay, here there's effort involved for you to return it. When it's like if someone just came up to you, let's say that guy wasn't even Jewish, right? Right? Then it'd be a Kiddush Hashem that you returned it to him, that $10 bill, right? Or the Hakun, which probably was Jewish, because yeah. But it's a Kiddush Hashem, right? So it's a beautiful thing to do, right?
You have the opportunity to do better.
But if you do it for a Gentile, it's a Kiddush Hashem still.
Yeah.
Even more so.
Yeah, but a Kiddush Hashem is another layer in law, right? It's not the law itself. It's a different law. Law of Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name. It's not the law of lost objects. In the law of lost objects, there is the opportunity that you can sanctify God's name. Wow, non-Jew will say, look at the Jews, they're amazing people, right? Guess what? That might be one program less as a result, which is pretty good, right?
Yes, sir. That's not give it to me.
By the way, not necessarily be a program less, I say not necessarily was a program less because you did that back in the day, right? Not necessarily. The non-Jew can say, what a fool this guy is. What an idiot. He could have kept the money. Look at that. I'm glad these Jews are fools.
That's what you probably would say.
Huh?
That's what you probably.
Yeah, and there'd be an extra pogrom. No, God, no, then the halacha wouldn't be that way. Yeah. Okay. If I were the manager, okay, 6. When a person purchases produce from a colleague or a colleague sends him produce and he finds money wrapped in a purse among the produce, he must announce the discovery. If the money is scattered, he may keep it. So, in other words, the money is not from the guy you bought the produce from. He's not telling you with money in there, right? So he didn't know about it. It belonged to somebody else. That's what I don't get that. How's that? let's see, when does the above apply? When one receives a produce from a merchant or from a private individual who purchased it from a merchant. If, however, the private individual threshed produce himself or had its Canaanite servant, the maidservant do so, the finder is obligated to return the money to him. So if it's from the original source, you have to return it, right? If it's someone who bought from the wholesaler, then that's a different story. Then you can keep it. Got that? Okay, I gotta stop here.
That's if it's scattered.
And because it probably came from the wholesaler,
If it's scattered.
right? The guy who sold it to you probably didn't come from him. I'm not certain why, because a money person, I'm not so clear on that, quite frank. Not so clear on why that is.
If it's scattered, not if it's bound up. You have to announce it if it's bound up, but you keep it if it's scattered.
Finds money wrapped in a purse among the produce.
Let's announce it.
So it's wrapped in a purse, but it's scattered. I don't know what that means.
Two different things.
If the money's scattered, oh no, sorry. If it's wrapped in a purse, then you have to announce it. I'm sorry. Yes, correct. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't clear in how expressing it. If it's wrapped up in a person, you have to announce it, right? Now, you're not going to go back to either one of them because and ask them, they have to come forward. I mean, maybe they have to be notified so they can know, right? The wholesaler or the retailer, let's say. But if it's scattered, then you can keep it.
If it's bundled up.
Because there's no way to give a sign on that it's yours.
The purse would be the sign. If you can describe the purse, then that would be the sign of the cash. If it was
Yeah, I hear you. I'm wondering, it sounds to me here that there's no purse, it's just money scattered.
No, but I'm talking, if it's bound with the cash, with the purse. then-
No, if it's bound, then you have to announce it.
Yeah, but that
Then you're
purse,
obliged.
They can collect
Right,
it
because
without-
because there's a way to identify it. That's the point.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.